Hi, it's Jeff Chalmers here from discoverdoublebase.com. If you want to learn the double bass, if you're new to the instrument, maybe you're a bit more of an advanced player, we have courses and lessons to help you on your journey. And there's a range of different genres and styles, including orchestral technique. And we're joined by our wonderful orchestra teacher, the great Joseph Conyers. So welcome, Joe. It's fantastic to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we're hanging out and we're answering a few questions from the audience. And Ray very kindly sent me several questions, actually. And we were looking through them and discussing which ones to answer, and one of them stood out because it's such a bold kind of question. So the question is how to play the unplayable, which it just seems, but it's such an important discussion because we also were having a conversation recently about the storm scene in Beethoven 6.
Yes.
And so, yeah, maybe you could speak on this a little bit and see if we can get to the heart of what he's asking.
Sure. So I work with a lot of young people. I conduct a youth orchestra, and I don't like to encourage this necessarily, except for sometimes we're put in positions where we have to do this. And it was actually advice that someone from the Philadelphia Orchestra gave me, probably in reference to something completely different.
Yeah.
But I use it in this case, particularly when working with my young people and they're working on hard music, how to get through things. And sometimes, Jeff, you just have to fake it till you make it.
Is that it? Is that the answer?
You have to fake it till you make it. So sometimes we can get so preoccupied with, I've got to play this many notes in this bar, and I'm never going to get them all cleanly or get them all executed before the next bar begins. Well, here's the deal. This is, I guess, maybe orchestra tips number one.
Yeah.
When you land the gig, just stay with the time. Whatever happens, I always tell my students this, it could be the world's hardest passage, but time keeps moving on. So whatever happens in that time while you're playing that passage or trying to, is between you and God. And then when the downbeat of the next bar hit comes, you play that downbeat as if nothing ever happened. And that's one way ensembles stay together. I think one of the reasons it becomes difficult is we get so fixated on trying to play everything that it takes us from the time, we get lost, we lose the orchestra, and it becomes very difficult. Now, I'm not saying this to say that you should fake everything that you play. Of course, you want to spend time in the practice room learning, working up the notes to speed, making sure that you're getting them in tune. But sometimes you have to strategize. When it's down to the wire, strategize on how you'll get out of it, just so you'll always stay in time and keep the ensemble together. Now, that said, I do want to add that there are places like Beethoven's 6th Symphony. You can even tell the way he wrote the part. He gave the basses these 4 notes, these 16 notes, and then the cellos have quintuples over that. It's not supposed to sound pretty. So basically what you see the bass section doing is this. But you see, even when I'm doing that, I'm hitting the F. That's probably the most important thing is you hear it. Yeah. And then everything else is just like, whatever. Beethoven's goodness is between you and God at that point, and no one else can even tell in the orchestra what's going on.
Absolutely, but you're trying to land on the downbeat.
That is correct.
Trying to hold the time.
That is correct.
And a lot, these things, in that instance, to my ear, it sounds more like a gesture, perhaps than a set of specific pitches that are due to be played.
Because Jeff, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's a musical gesture. It's a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Thunderstorms don't sound like it's supposed to be chaos. Yeah. So it should sound chaotic.
Oh, well, I'm glad that my chaotic time that I spent in the orchestra when I was at college was actually the right thing. I just remember feeling like I was in a storm when Anyway, Joseph, thank you so much for answering that. And Ray, thanks for your questions. I really appreciate you sending them across. We hope that everybody has learned something from this. And if you want to learn more from Joe, please go and check out his lessons and courses over at discoverdoublebase.com.